And yes, this is our first lesson. Utala, today we are going to talk about chemical basis of life. So chemical basis of life, grade 10 science, first lesson, that is chemical basis of life. This comes under biology, but the thing is there are a lot of chemistry in this as well. Right? May lesson it focuses on the biology part, but the problem is there are a lot of chemistry stuck to it as well. I think I want you all to have a separate book. I know I shouldn't be telling you this as well, but the thing is I want you all to have a separate book for this class. And then the thing is, this thing which is special about us is I'm going to give you each and every lesson. So every week we'll be doing a lesson. So every lesson I'll be giving you at least 10 questions. It can be varying from 5 to 15, at least 10 questions on average. I'll be answering that as well within the lesson. I'll be preparing the answers and I'll be discussing the answers with you as well, because once the lesson is going on, we'll be discussing the answers as well, because those type of questions, those questions specifically, I'm preparing you and I'm giving you targeting the main exam, the oral exam, which you will be sitting in the upcoming year, not the 2023, but 2024, when you will be sitting for your exam. And we'll be targeting that exam and giving you questions lesson by lesson. Each and every week, I'll be giving you questions, and each and every week, we'll be discussing through those within the lesson as well. So regarding the lesson, we'll be questioning you. Okay. So I need you all to have a separate book, because one of these days, I'll be asking for your notes. Okay, photos in the group as well. So I'll be checking up on each and every one of you, because this has to be a proper class. Okay. So since you all be joining with me with throughout the country, this is an online based class. And the other thing is, today you can add any of your friends. It doesn't matter the ones who are registered, the ones who are not, but from tomorrow onwards, from next week onwards, only the registered will be permitted to enter the class from the waiting list. Okay, so others won't be approved. If you haven't registered, register yourself within this week. Okay, so to be specific, within this week you need to register. So we have to concentrate on the lesson from now on. I want you all to take up your books. I need you to write the topic chemical basis of life, but under that you need to write the first question, because we'll be focusing on that part before we go deep into the lesson. Okay, so the first question is, what is the chemical compound categorization in living tissue? Body. Okay, so write down the first question. The first question is, what is the chemical compound? What is the chemical compound categorization in living tissue or living body? Okay, so the living tissue means the living body, because the living body consists of living tissues. Okay, living body කියන්නේ අපේ මේ ජීව විද්‍යාත්මක මේ සජීවී ශරීරය හැදිලා තියෙන සජීවී පදාර්ථය. That is living tissue. සජීවී පටක, living tissue. Okay, so the first question, chemical compound categorization in living tissue or living body. Okay, so now we are going to focus on the chemical basis of life. In your textbook, if you have them, you open it to the first page, first lesson, the chemical basis of life. The bodies of all organisms are composed of variety of chemical compounds. They are saying the bodies of all organisms are composed of variety of chemical compounds. If you take a human body, so in the background, this is the whiteboard we are going to use. So it is perfectly clear because I am using HD cameras. Here, my camera setup is HD. So this is perfectly clear, perfectly lit. Nothing should be, black or blurred or anything else. No problems at all. Okay, so if you take the normal human, good at drawing, I don't need the actual drawing. I just need the human. Okay, so this is the normal human being. The body of a human or a body of an animal is made up with chemical compounds. Okay, chemical compounds. This is advanced chemistry, which you will be focusing in A-level chemistry. A-level chemistry වල තමයි chemical compounds මොනවද කියලා අපි රසායන විද්‍යාව chemistry වල බලන්න. But for you to have an idea, this is the normal human being, and the human is made up with various organs. The brain is here, eyes, nose, mouth, and then the heart is here. There's lungs, and then there's muscles in arms and legs. There's muscles, and then there's intestines in the stomach. Various organs, tissues, cells, cellular components are there to make up the human, or else an animal, or else the plants as well. There are living tissues as well in the plants. So it's a living, to me, it's a living creature. Okay, so this is the human, and the organs in the human body are made up with various compounds. The organs, if you break down the organs, it goes to the level of the cellular compartments, cellular sets. The cells get together and make a tissue. Cells get together, cells make a tissue. Okay, and the tissue makes large organs, which makes a body. Simple as that. Okay, so if you need to write this down, write it down, because there's no problem. I won't tell you to write this down, write that down. Whatever I'm explaining here, you can write it down. Freedom is yours. But if I tell you to specifically write something down, you should always, it is a must for you to write it down. Make a order there, clear gun board but mama අනිවාර්යෙන් කිව්වොත් මේක ලියන්න කියලා අනිවාර්යෙන් ලියන්න ඕනේ. Okay, so this is for you to decide. Cells make up tissues. A number of cells get together and make up a tissue. A number of tissues get together and make up a body organ. Animals, humans, plants, the case is same. Organs make up to make the total body of a human being or an animal. Okay, so this cell, the cellular compartment, is made up with chemical compounds. Chemical compounds, right? Chemical compounds. Chemical compounds get together and make up the cell, the cellular compartments. That is the stage that we are focusing right now. Okay? අපි යනවා cellular compartment හදන මේ chemical compounds ගැන කතා කරනවා. Okay? So that is there. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, අපහැදිලි මොනවා තියෙනවා put it in the chat box. Okay? That will come to me directly because we don't need you to speak up. I don't want you to speak up and switch on your videos because I don't need any of those because I'm engaging teaching. So I'm focusing on teaching you all. What you should do is absorb each and everything I'm telling you. Okay, Mama, I will be talking in English because I won't be talking in Sinhala much. But if you have any queries, if you have any doubts, please write it out. I'll focus on that as well while we are teaching the lesson. Okay, so Metana, in your textbook, they have told us chemical compounds are formed. Since we are focusing on the chemical compounds which get together to make up cells. Okay, cells silent හදන්නේ chemical compounds. So now we are talking about chemical compounds. For example, එක රසායනික මූලද්‍රව්‍ය එකතුවෙන් හැදෙන සංයෝග. රසායනික සංයෝග තමයි සිංහල term for chemical compounds. රසායනික සංයෝග. Chemical compounds we are focusing now. They are telling us chemical compounds are made up with elements, naturally existing elements. I'll explain you that because make your first lesson in grade 10. Okay, science. So when you are talking about science, this is very new for you all because you all are coming from grade 9. So this might be a huge step. I don't know. For you, it might be a huge step. There might be a quite difference between grade 9 and grade 10. But this is a stepping stone onwards to your A-level journey. That is the advanced level chemistry or biology, which is very advanced. So the O-level science is a stepping stone. So some might understand on the first go, some might not. Okay, so if you're clear with what I am telling you, please write it out. It is clear or you understand or chat box because okay, you can type. All right. On the other hand, we are focusing on chemical compounds. Chemical compounds here. They are telling us. No, I'll tell you. CHONS. Some might know what it is, some might not know. This is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. Okay, so C is carbon. If you need to write down anything, just write it down. Okay, C is carbon, and then here hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. So these are elements, mooladravya. In our language, in Sinhala terms, we tell them mooladravya. We assign the term mooladravya. Okay, mooladravya means elements. Naturally existing elements are putala sabhavika parisare pavatina mooladravya. So if you go out to the environment, if you go out to a quarry, you go out to a mountain, you go out to the beach, you find these elements in their pure natural form. That is what we are telling you. Okay, a pure natural form කියන්නේ samahara. If you go on a mountain journey, if you go to a quarry where they break rocks and stuff, if you go to the beach, the sandy beach, you might have heard there are certain beaches in the world, the sand is not the typical brown yellow. It might be a rose type beach. In Australia, there's a rose beach. In Australia, there's a Gold Coast, County Gold Coast. That means the sand is gold. In Europe, there are pink type of sand in the beach. Okay, sometimes the sand is black. That is because there are elements in the beach sand. Within the sand particles, there are elements, natural existing elements. You can just, take it out. You can take out titanium, I don't know, silica, just by itself. Naturally existing means ස්වභාවික පරිසරයේ පවතින මූලද්‍රව්‍ය, naturally existing ඒ ස්වභාවික පරිසරයේ ඒ විදිහටම තියෙන මූලද්‍රව්‍ය, elements. Okay, so what they are telling us is chemical compounds. අපේ cellular form එක හදන්න what comes is chemical compounds get together and then they form cellular compartments. But chemical compounds කියන එක්කෙනාව chemical compound, that means රසායනික සංයෝග. chemical compound කියන එක්කෙනාව හදන්නේ මෙන්න මේගොල්ලෝ. මේ දෙන්නෙක් එකතු වෙලා සමහරක් ඒවා හදනවා. දෙතුන් දෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා හදනවා. ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා සමහර හදනවා ඉන්නවා. So all of them get together and some of them, sometimes each one of them get together and forms chemical compounds. රසායනික සංයෝග හදන්නේ මේ විදිහට naturally existing elements. I just gave you some examples. These are not all the elements. Write this down. I told you, if I tell you something, to write it down. It's a must. And it's in the textbook as well. But we are not focusing on what is in textbook because I tell you everything I know. That can be huge lot of stuff more than the textbook. Okay, so textbook but we are adding up to that, adding on to that because we need the information. Right? So elements. There are 92 total elements in our existence, in natural existence, natural environment, in existence. There are 92 elements. Okay, so from all of them, there are only about 25 elements in the body, in the living body. That means it can be either human or plants or animals, whatever. The living body means humans, plants, animals, everything together, living body. And in the living body, out of all those 92 elements, there are only 25 elements in our body. 25 elements. That means පුතාලා මෙතන මට 25 list එකක් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, potassium, sodium and everything 25 විතර ලියන්න පුළුවන්. And those are the stuff which get together to form the chemical compounds. Chemical compounds separating හදනවා. They make up chemical compounds and those chemical compounds go and make our cellular compartments. අපේ cell level එකේ building blocks හදන්නේ මෙන්න මේ chemical compounds හදන්නේ. There are 25 minerals in our existence that makes up natural existence element that makes up the body, living tissue or the body. That is what is explained in the first chapter, at least the first paragraph. Right? Okay, so they have given us something important, so you should write this down as well. The most common 4 elements in the living body are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. These 4. These 4. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Those 4 are the most common elements in our body. In our living tissue, in our living body, the most common elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Important way. Why that is important means when you go to your exams or term test, whatever, and even in all levels or MCQs, these can come. You know the elements, you know the naturally existing elements, you know there are 25 elements in the body, you know 92 elements in existence, but what are the topmost common elements? Top 4 common elements, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. You will see when you go through the lesson, you will see examples. So apart from those, there are sulfur, phosphorus, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, chlorine, essential for survival of organism. That means there are 25 will include our example set. Okay, you can just read it through, but you have to remember the top 4 most common elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Right? Okay. Now, to give you the answer for our question, I gave you the question before I started the lesson. Remember? So you wrote it down. I hope you wrote it down. What is the chemical compound categorization in living tissue or the body? Living body chemical compound categorization. Because this categorization is a mind map. I have prepared it as a mind map. I'll be teaching you as a mind map because you don't need to study it anymore. On the first go, you can remember it as a flow chart, as a categorization. So you can remember it again and again. And even for the exam, you can just look at it, take one look at it, and you can remember everything. You can, revive everything. Okay, so they have given us these details. I'll just read it through and I'll show you the mind map. Chemical compounds that build up living matter can be divided into two categories. Okay, so chemical compounds are so may elements elements, or there are 25 elements. They get together and make up chemical compounds. Okay, so they are telling us chemical compounds can be into two main categories. One category is organic matter. Organic. The other category is inorganic matter. Inorganic compounds. Matter can padartha. So I'm just using advanced level chemistry terms. But the thing is, organic compounds, you write it as organic compounds, and then you write the second category as inorganic compounds. So these things you should always write down. Okay, I don't need to tell you. Chemical compounds, there are two categories, organic compounds, and then there are inorganic compounds, two categories. Okay, so they have told us the definition. They have explained us why this is called organic compound and why this is called inorganic compounds. Because organic compounds, there's a specific quality in them. Organic compounds because they includes carbon. How is the carbon? Carbon, if carbon, the element of carbon, if it's in a certain group, if it's in a certain compound, that compound is organic. Carbonic organic compound term carbonic. Carbonic carbonic organic fertilizer. I'll explain you later day, but chemistry. So the ones who don't understand, doesn't understand basic chemistry, the people kept on arguing. Okay, so as educated people, you should know what is what and what is what. So organic carbon carbonic organic compounds carbon include whenever. So the things which doesn't include carbon okay, that inorganic inorganic compounds carbon include when inorganic compound. If carbon is including, we call it organic compounds. There are a few exceptions. There are certain chemical compounds or chemical rasayanik සංයෝග කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා. Chemical compounds 3-4ක් විතර. ඒකේ carbon තියෙනවා, but still they are in the category of inorganic compounds. Okay, I don't know why, but categorization wise ඒවා ඉන්නේ inorganic වලට. ඒක මේගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා textbook එකේ. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbonates and bicarbonates. There are four types of things which comes under inorganic, but still carbon is there. Okay, so chemical carbon dioxide CO2, okay, carbon monoxide CO, okay, and then they have given us carbonates and bicarbonates. Carbonates CO3 2 minus. Okay, in advanced level chemistry, you will learn how to write these and how to make up these. Okay, so this is not for O level, ordinary level chemistry or whatever. This is for advanced level chemistry, but I'm still writing those. So you know what you are writing. Okay, so inorganic compounds, then categorization, organic compound categorization. Then four exceptions. Carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, write carbon dioxide, and then write the term followed up by the molecular pattern CO2. Okay, CO2 kill carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide, that means one oxide. CO. Okay, and then carbonates CO3 2 minus. CO3 2 minus okay, make a linear pattern. It's a calculation that you will learn in your A levels. Okay, not for now. And then the fourth example is bicarbonates HCO3 minus. That is the fourth exception, HCO3 minus, bicarbonate. Right. Okay, if you have any questions, please put me a message. Otherwise, I won't be noticing anything. So they have told us those organic compounds that build up the living body or living matter are known as biomolecules. Biomolecules. Okay. So there are chemical compounds. One category is organic compounds, other category is inorganic compound. So under this organic compound, there are certain types of organic compounds, chemical compounds which makes up our body, the human body, the animal body, the plant body, whatever it is, the living tissue, living body එක හදන organic compounds වගේක් තියෙනවා. Okay? Not all organic compounds come together to make living body. That තේරුණාද? If you understand it quite well, chemical compounds categorization එකේදී දෙකට බෙදෙනවා chemical compounds, organic and inorganic කියලා. But organic වලින් දැන් මේ හැම එකම තියෙන හැම compounds ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා අපේ human body, animal body, plant body ඒ කියන්නේ living body එක හදන්නේ නැහැ. Not everything comes together to make our living body, but there are certain organic compounds which comes together to make our living body, and there are some inorganic compounds which comes together to make our living body. Okay, so here, if we focus here, if we focus in the organic category, there are certain organic compounds which are named as biomolecules. Write it down. Biomolecules. In biomolecules කියලා organic compounds જાතියක් තියෙනවා මේක යටතේ නෙන්නේ. So it comes under this, no? Okay, so biomolecules කියන organic compounds જાතිය, they come together to make our living body. So ඒවට examples තමයි අපි දෙන්නේ මෙතන යටින්. So I don't have enough space, so I'm writing it here. Carbohydrates, and then proteins, and then lipids, and then nucleic acids. Okay, so it will light up. Sometimes the light goes off. It's sensitive to me, so it's face recognizing, so the camera focuses and then light goes on. But if I turn up, comes back like that. Okay, so nucleic acids, and then finally, that's it, right? Nucleic acids, and then there's something else, vitamins. Vitamins. Okay, so carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and vitamins. So these are biomolecules. These four are the top four biomolecules, but vitamins are also there. So these biomolecules, organic compounds comes together to make the living body. So apart from those, the biomolecules comes under organic category. So what comes under inorganic category? For the living tissue, for them to make the living body, living tissue, what comes under inorganic category? Water, minerals. Minerals means our podi kala api igena ganne khanija lawana kiyala minerals. Minerals kiyane eවට. And then there's gases as well. Gases as well. Gases කියන්නේ carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide are gases. හරි ඒවත් අපේ living body එකේ living tissue එකේ තියෙනවා. හරි. So organic category එකේ යටතේ we have biomolecules. Biomolecules directly goes and makes up the living body. So those are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and vitamins. Are the biomolecules. They comes under organic category. Top four will carbohydrate, protein, lipids, and nucleic acids. And then inorganic section what comes and makes the living body? Inorganic section water, mineral, gases. So all get together, all those things get together and they make the living body. So make a mind map. I gave you the answer to your first question, the categorization for chemical compound. Categorization starts here. They can divide into two, organic and inorganic. Organic is carbon, organic define if it has carbon. If it doesn't have carbon, inorganic, there are four exceptions: carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbonate, bicarbonate. And then we go deep down. Biomolecules there's a group called biomolecule which comes and makes up the human body, the living body, living tissue, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and vitamins. Nucleic acids DNA and RNA. Nucleic acids some people think, some children think, they ask us the question, sir, nucleic acids DNA DNA not just DNA. It is DNA and RNA. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA means ribonucleic acids. So when we learn those things in future, I'll explain you all perfectly well what is what and how it has that term, how it has that name, and what is their structure. So because I've done medicine, I'm a doctor, so I know how to explain this to you all better than most of the people. Okay. So here, nucleic acids and vitamins, and then inorganic compounds, water, minerals, gases. Okay, that's that. So that is the answer for your first question. A classification try to remember like that, because that will be important in your future because when you go to exams, term test papers and O-level past papers make question okay. So this is what I came up with, but this has been questioned in the past as well, and probably in your exam this can come either into the structure section, I don't know, essay, MCQ, it can come, truly it can come, okay. So right, and then if you turn to the next page, they have given you this table. If you have the book, just take a look at it. If you don't have the book, download it from the Sri Lankan government website, education website. They can just go down and download the whole book, okay. So elements, they are talking about 4 elements, okay. Oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. There's the list. Total list is there, but you just need to remember the top 4 elements. That's all, okay. I'm telling you. Otherwise, if you don't have enough the proper guidance, you will go and study all the things. You don't need to study everything, right? You just need to look at the top 4 elements only, okay. So if you take a look at the top 4 elements, they have given us the percentages of minerals regarding mass, the body mass. That means body mass percentages. If you take a human body, let's say I am weighing 100 kgs. My weight is 100 kg. I'm giving you the explanation for the body mass ratio and everything because you don't understand, you don't get anything regarding that, okay. Even in A-level standards, they don't understand that. So body mass ratio if I am 100 kg, for example, my weight is 100 kg, from my total weight 65%, because oxygen is 65% kilo. Oxygen, my total body weight my weight kilo 65 oxygen tamati. Oxygen O2 නෙමෙයි, O element එක. හරිද? Not the oxygen gas අර ඔයගොල්ලෝ අපි inhale කරන oxygen gas එක ගැන නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ, that is O2, okay. That is O2. Oxygen gas කියන්නේ O2, that is in the gaseous state. හරිද? මේ G කියලා මම දන්නේ gaseous state. I choose things between A-levels and O-levels, but you just need to learn the property. Otherwise, you all will learn O2. You have to write the state as well. Every time we write something, we have to write the state in A-level. So that's why G කියලා අපි දානවා, O2 oxygen. ඒක නෙමෙයි. That is not what we are talking about here. We are talking about the mineral. O, simply O. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ total body weight එක 100 kg වෙනකොට මගේ 65% තියෙන්නේ oxygen. You get it? 65% මගේ body weight එකෙන් oxygen. It can happen. See, oxygen mineral has a weight of, I think, 16 grams per mole. You will be learning that in I think A-levels properly, but O-levels for chemistry lessons you are getting to learn molecular weight or will be teaching you. Hurry. So here right now today you won't be learning that, no. So your body, 2/3 of your body is made up with 2/3. Lot of I can't remember the exact figure. Your body is made up with water. Most of your body is made up with water. So water is H2O. So it's overall percentage එක වැඩි. ඒකේ molecular weight එකෙන් වැඩි කරාම එන amount එක ගොඩක් වැඩි. හරි. In advanced chemistry you will learn that. So that is why oxygen has a body mass ratio of 65% from your total body weight. Total body weight 100 වෙනකොට 65 kgs for oxygen. හරි. Right. Methane examples, all fluids, tissues, bones, proteins, හැමතැනම oxygen තියෙනවා. හරිද? I'm just talking about the top 4. Carbon ගත්තොත් 18%, 18 kg, 100 kg වලින් carbon. හරිනේ? Everywhere in the body. Okay? Hydrogen 10%, 10 kg. හරි? 100 ගත්තොත් 10 kg. Right? All fluids, tissues, bones, proteins, nitrogen 3%. ඔය විදිහට okay. So just take a look at the table, but all you have to do is remember the top 4, just that's it. Okay? So you don't have to cram out everything. හරිද? Okay. And then we come to carbohydrates, which is very important and very interesting. Okay, so I'll be teaching you in an interesting manner, probably. Write this down. The next topic is carbohydrates. Okay, so write this down. Question number 2. What is the most abundant organic compound on Earth? What is the most abundant? Abundant means, what is abundant? Abundant means you can find it everywhere. Right? Most common Q1, most frequent Q1. Right? What is the most abundant chemical compound on Earth? That is carbohydrates. Right? This is the most abundant organic compound on Earth. That is because I'm giving you this because you need this for your MCQs. I'm training you all for your MCQs as well, the structured parts as well, probably not for essay questions. Essay questions may ever discuss karan bhai. It needs a lot of information and a practice for writing. But within the lessons, from each and every one of these our classes, within the lessons, I'll be giving you questions which will train you for your MCQ and your structure. When you go to your first term exam, you will see. And when you go to a first term exam, you will see what is what and what will happen. Okay. So most common, most abundant chemical compound on earth, second question answer is carbohydrates. Carbohydrate tamai ලෝකේ වැඩිපුරම තියෙන කාබනික සංයෝග වර්ගය. That is the sinhala term. sinhala meaning කාබනික සංයෝග අතරින් වැඩිපුරම තියෙන සුලභම තියෙන කාබනික සංයෝග වර්ගය carbohydrates. හරිද? Okay. දැන් මෙතන තියෙනවා අන්න දැක්කද carbohydrates they are made from photosynthesis in green plants. අර ඒකේ තියෙන interesting බව බලන්න. ඒ term එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ you can just say carbohydrates are made in plants. A simple term එකක් කියන simple sentence එකක් කියනකොට simple information එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. But that is not quite true. Why? Carbohydrates are not actually made in every plant. Carbohydrate should be made and it is made by photosynthesis. Photosynthesis can Prabha translation that you will be learning in grade level. Photosynthesis can Prabha translation. Prabha translation photosynthesis does not happen in each and every plant. It happens only in green plants. If you didn't know up until now, I'm pretty sure you have been taught this in grade 7, 8, 9, whatever grade. But you should know photosynthesis happens in green plants. කොළ පැහැති ශාක පත්‍රවල chlorophyll හරි තියෙනකොට හරිත ලව හරිත ප්‍රද කියලා කියන්නේ chlorophyll තියෙනකොට තමයි ඒ කොළ පාට වෙන්නේ ශාක පත්‍රය. හරිත ලව the වර්ණකය the coloring. හරි chlorophyll තියෙනකොට තමයි ශාක පත්‍රය the plant leaf becomes green. So chlorophyll තියෙන්නේ photosynthesis කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒ කියන්නේ ශාකවල plants වල. එතකොට කොළ පාට ශාකවල තමයි photosynthesis කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ chlorophyll තියෙනවානේ. So කොළ පාට ශාකවල photosynthesis කරලා green plants වල green vegetation green plants වල photosynthesis කරලා හදනවා carbohydrates. ඔන්නෝක තමයි ඔතන තියෙන message එක. හරි? So ඔයා නිකම්ම මේක පාඩම් කරමු ගස් වල carbohydrate හදනවා ශාක වල carbohydrate එක වැරදි. හරි? It can't be like that. It is not common like that. So it doesn't matter whether when we go out we see everything green. Doesn't matter. There are certain plants which are not quite green and underwater and each and everywhere, but doesn't produce starch or carbohydrate anything with photosynthesis. Okay, so if you have a MCQ, you should be concerned on that. මේකේ ඔක්කොම details තියෙනවද මම මේකට tick කරන්න. True false දාන්න මේක true වෙන්න නිකන් green leaves green plants කියලා තියෙනවද photosynthesis කරනවද? Carbohydrate produce කරන්න නම් මේක තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. Okay, so those points are important. That's why I'm telling you. The examples වගේ තියෙනවා potato, අල, sweet potatoes, බතල, හරි grains, ඒ කියන්නේ ඇට ಜಾති, sugar, සීනි, flour, that means පිටි, හරි? Are some of the examples foods for containing carbohydrate. The main elemental composition of carbohydrates is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. මේගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙන common molecular formula එක. Is very important, හරි? Common carbohydrates. මේක ලියා ගන්න. So you should write this down. Carbohydrates. We are talking about the common molecular formula. Carbohydrates වල වැඩිපුරම තියෙන්නේ හරි carbohydrates වල most commonly තියෙන elements තුන තමයි carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Carbohydrates හැදෙන්නේ CHOs වලින්. හරි carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. හරි CHOs කියලා අපි කියන්නේ. හරි ඒකේ මෙන්න මේ මෙතන අපි දෙක දානවා. H2O water molecule එකේ formula එක H2O එන්නේ මේ විදිහට තමයි carbohydrates වල H hydrogen and oxygen වල ratio එක හැමතිස්සෙම ඕනම carbohydrate එක මේව මොනවා වුණත් මේ oxygen and hydrogen වල ratio එක දෙකට එකයි. hydrogen දෙකක් තියෙනකොට තමයි oxygen එකක් තියෙන කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ දෙනවා. common carbohydrate common molecular formula එක අපි ලියනවා CxH2OY කියලා. මෙතන තියෙන Y. හොඳයි. CxH2OY. Write this down. Common molecular formula for carbohydrate. Carbohydrates, common molecular formula for carbohydrates, CxH2OY. And why is that? Because no matter how many carbons, hydrogen or carbons there are, hydrogen and oxygen will always maintain a ratio of 2 to 1. Write that down. No matter how many, why this common molecular formula comes like CxH2OY, because no matter how many carbon molecules in the carbohydrate compound, it will always maintain 2 to 1 hydrogen to oxygen ratio. It will always maintain 2 to 1. That means like this. 2 to 1 hydrogen to oxygen ratio in the compound. So that idea is like that. Okay? Right. That is the common molecular formula for carbohydrates. Carbohydrates classification එකට අපි දැන් යනවා. හරිද? දැන් I'm giving you certain details. පට ගාලා මේ ටික අපි ගමු. Third question number 3 දාගන්න. So I have a proper note for this. I'm not giving that to you all because you won't write anything if I don't tell you. If I tell you I'm giving you the note, I'm putting in the group, or you won't write nothing. You will write nothing. So I don't want that. I want you to engage in the lesson actively. When I tell you something, look at the board and write it down. Write it down, listen properly, write it down. Okay. So I want you to engage in the lesson actively. Otherwise, you will be falling asleep. So write the carbohydrate classification. Third question is write the carbohydrate classification. In this classification, we do not just mention the carbohydrate categories. We write the examples, we write the qualities, we write the there are certain formulas as well. So මෙතන අපි carbohydrate classification එකට අවධානය දෙනවා. Attention is given to the classification of carbohydrates, but we just do not mention the examples. We also write the qualities in the carbohydrates as well and the specific formulas as well. Okay. So carbohydrates, they can be classified. Carbs kila dana. You need to write the whole term. You know carbs kilo, carbohydrate kilo. You don't write it. Okay. So whatever you do, you write the whole term. I'm not being questioned at the exam. You can't just write carbs and get full marks. You will be put under the bus. Okay. So carbs kila gatto. Eke tunata bedenawa. Carbohydrates. Metana monosaccharides. Right? Monosaccharides. If you don't know how to write monosaccharide, spellings I don't want to give you an English lesson. Monosaccharides. Second one, disaccharides. I write disaccharide. Okay, disacs. Third one, polysaccharides. Polysacs. In the textbook that is there, but you have to write this. This is මේම හරියටම දැන් මම කියන්නේ නැහැ ඔක්කොම textbook එකේ නැහැ. හරි. ඒවා තැන් වල තියෙන. It is, it's anywhere and everywhere. ඔය වගේ තියෙන. හරිද? Okay. Right here, monosaccharides. We have මෙන්න මෙහෙම දැන් මම මේ තුනට formulas තුන ලියනවා. Monosaccharide carbohydrate වල monosaccharide formula එක, disaccharide formula and then the polysaccharide formula. හරිද? මෙතන ලියාගෙන monosaccharide කියලා ලියලා යටි C6H12O6. C6H12O6 එක තමයි the common formula for monosaccharides. හරිද? That usually the most common example that we can give is glucose. Glucose වල තියෙන formula එක තමයි C6H12O6 කියන්නේ. හරි? එතකොට මේක ඔයාලා ලියන්න monosaccharides වලට යටි. හරි? Write it down. Write it below monosaccharides, and then disaccharides. The formula is C12H22O11. Whatever the number of the disaccharide means, Putala, when two monosaccharides get together, they form a disaccharide. Di means two, and mono means one. I think it is in Latin. Mono means one. Monosaccharides. Mono means one whole thing. And mono means one. Di means the combination of those two single whole things. Deka di. Deka. Poly means more than two. Number of things get together, they make the poly. Or polypeptide killer protein chain polyset so that we call them polysaccharides can so this is the main unit. Monosaccharide is the main unit. Single most simple unit. A glucose can single most simple sugar. Example simple sugar can glucose that is a single unit. Disaccharide so මේ වගේ දෙකක් එකතු වුණාම මෙතන මේක හැදෙනවා. හරි but calculation is not quite matching. C6 වුණාම මෙතන දෙකක් වුණාම C12 ඒක හරි. H2O දැන් H12යි මෙතන H22යි 22. මෙතන O6යි මෙතන O11යි. දැන් එහෙනම් මෙතන H24ක් වෙලා මෙතන O12ක් වෙන්න ඕනේ මේකේ ඩබල් එක. but මෙතන H2O කියන එක අඩුවක් තියෙනවා. මොකද මම මේක explain කරනකොට කියන්නම්. මම මේක ලියලා පෙන්නන්නම්. monosaccharide එකෙන් දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා when the two of monosaccharides get together to make a disaccharide, they just don't make just a disaccharide, they make disaccharide plus an H2O molecule. ජල අණුවක් H2O molecule එකකුත් හදලා එයාව අයින් කරනවා. monosaccharide දෙකක් get together to make a disaccharide. They don't just make one disaccharide, they make a disaccharide plus H2O molecule. ඒ H2O එක ගියාන් පස්සේ මෙතන මේකෙන් අඩු වෙන්න තියෙන ඒක. හොඳයි. ඒක ටිකක් හරියට බැලන්ස් කරන්න ඕනේ ඉක්වේෂන් එකක්. මම මේ එරර් කෙමිස්ට්‍රි කැරිත් ඔයාලට ගලවන්න කියනවා but you have to know what happened here. හරි ඒකයි මම මේ කියන්නේ. මේ ෆෝමියුලා එක ලියනකොට මේකේ අඩුවකට ඇයි මෙහෙම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඔළුවට නිකන් කටපාඩමෙන් අර මේක ලියනකොට වඩා මෙතන දැන් එක ඩබල් වෙනවනම් මේක හරියට බැලන්ස් නෑනේ. මෙතන H24ක් 24H and O12ක් 12O's තියෙන එකයි මේක හරියට බැලන්ස් නෑනේ සර් කිව්වට. So you must be having that question in your mind if you are following my lesson. So equation එකේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා that is because මේ දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා මේක හැදෙද්දි H2O කියලා එකක් ගලවලා යනවා. ඒක අඩු හින්දා තමයි මෙතන මෙහෙම තියෙන්නේ. හරි. So you know that. හරිද? Right. That is the formula for disaccharides and now we are writing the formula for polysaccharides. C6H10O5 N types. හරිද? මේව ලියන්න. polysaccharide වල formula එකේ poly කියන්නේ ගණන් හදන්න එපා. poly කියන්නේ ඕන තරම් set එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. C6 H10 and O5 n times කියලා දාන්න. n times කියලා දාන්න පුතා මෙතන ඕන ගානක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. 20ක් දාන්න පුළුවන් 30ක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද එක එක මේ molecular structures monosaccharides 30ක් විතර එකතු වෙලා ඒක හැදෙනවා. එතන මෙතන අපි 30 කියලා දාන්න. හරි n times කියලා අපි එතන දාන්න polysaccharides වලින්. හරි. දැන් මේවට යටින් දැන් මම මේ කියන ඒවා ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. I'm not going to write it on the board but you should write this down. හරිද? Here metan under monosaccharide you have written the formula for monosaccharide and under that now we are writing the examples for all three categorized units. For all three groups we are writing the examples. They are in your textbook. Monosaccharides කියන්නේ simple sugars. හරිද? මේවා තමයි structural unit carbohydrates වල structural unit එක අපි කියලා කියන්නේ monosaccharides වලට. හරි? Those are the things that we call simple sugars. What examples තමයි glucose, fructose and galactose. These are the simple sugars which has the molecular structure, molecular formula C6H12O6. හරි. එතකොට මේ වගේ මේ C6H12O6 වල එක එක පොඩි වෙනස්කම් වෙන තමයි ඒක glucose ද, galactose ද, fructose ද කියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි දන්නවා දැන් ඔය තුන් දෙනාටම දැන් මම examples තුනක් දුන්නා. glucose, right. glucose, fructose, galactose කියලා examples තුනක් දෙනවා. ඔය තුන් දෙනාගේම common මේ formula එක C6H12O6 වුණාම ඒ තුන් දෙනා එකින් එකාගේ වෙනස් වෙන්නේ they are different from each other. පොඩි qualities එක එක bonds ඇවිල්ලා set වෙලා. හරි. සමහර hydrogen තියෙන tang වෙනස්. අර ඒ වගේ පොඩි දේවල් වලින් තමයි glucose is different from fructose and then fructose is different from galactose. හරි. Those are the three examples that you should know up to now. That is enough, more than enough. හරිද? ඊළඟට disaccharides. ඒ කියන්නේ monosaccharide දෙකක් combine වෙලා H2O water molecule එකකට පයින් ගහලා එලවලා disaccharide වල ඔන්න examples තුනක් තියෙනවා. Sucrose, right? Sucrose, maltose and then lactose, or else you can write maltose, sucrose and lactose. Hadi those are most famous and the most important topmost disaccharide types තුන. හරි? Three types of disaccharides: maltose, sucrose, lactose. And then we come to polysaccharides. Polysaccharides වලට අපි දෙනවා examples තුනක්. මොනවද? starch, cellulose and glycogen. starch කියන්නේ පිෂ්ඨය කියන එක. ඔය පිටි જાති හොඳට පිටි ගුලියක් වගේ ඉන්නේ starch. starch, cellulose and then glycogen. ඔය තමයි examples තුන. හරි? right. දැන් අපි දැන් examples තුන ලියුවා. හරිද? I hope that you have written what I told you right now rather than listening to this like idle. Okay? idle person public වගේ නිකම් බලන් ඉන්නේ නැතුව මේව ලිව්වා කියලා මම හිතනවා. So I'm thinking that you are following this as well. හරිද? හරි. monosaccharide වල මෙන්න මේ examples තුනට යටින් ලියාගෙන that මේ විදියට හරි. මෙහෙම බෙදන්න. හරිද? එතකොට sites තුනක් maintain වෙනවනේ. මේ පල්ලෙන් ලියාගෙන යන්න. මම මේ කියනේවා අදාළ group එකේ අදාළ grouping එකේ අදාළ column එකේ write it down. හරි? පල්ලෙහාට ලියාගෙන යන්න. downwards. Okay, so you have written the examples මේ පැත්තේ 3යි මේ පැත්තේ 3යි මේ පැත්තේ 3යි. හරි ලස්සනට ලියුවා. Then you come to the monosaccharide column. Monosaccharide column එක ලියාගෙන this simple sugars කියලා. හරි? Simple sugars. First one is simple sugars. Second one, structural unit of carbohydrates. Structural unit of carbohydrates. So we are writing the qualities. Right? Structural unit of carbohydrates. Third one, crystal shaped. Crystal shaped. Crystal shaped. And then the fourth one, generally sweet. That means like a normally penirasai. If you taste glucose, if you taste maltose, sorry, if you taste glucose or fructose or galactose, maltose is a disaccharide. Glucose, fructose or galactose, either of them, they taste sweet in your mouth. Sugars, simple sugars, penirasai. So they are sweet, generally sweet. And then the last one is what? Water soluble. That means where are the simple sugars? Monosaccharides, glucose, galactose, fructose. මේ මොනවා හරි අරගෙන වතුරට දාලා මේව දිය කරොත් it is water soluble. වතුරේ දිය වෙනවා. හරි, no question about that. It is water soluble. That is the fifth quality in monosaccharides. හරි, right. Okay, now we are going to the disaccharides. Disaccharides වල අපි ඔන්න ලිව්වා molecular formula and then followed up by the examples, 3 examples. Now we are going to write the qualities in disaccharides. Right? Okay, disaccharides. Api qualities liyanne yanne, but before that I want you all to write this. Okay, right, you will be maintaining the column mema pallata column එක ලියන්න. හරිද? So you can maintain the column downwards, but I'm going to erase this because I need to write the balance calculation, balance equation එක for you to see what happens when we are making disaccharides. I told you monosaccharides, 2 monosaccharides get together to make the disaccharides. I'm going to write the balance calculation. Make a liyanna මේ column එකේ පොඩියට. Okay? Hi. Mono plus mono makes di plus H2O. Okay? හරිද? Mono plus mono gets together to make a disaccharide plus H2O. H2O එක මෙතනින් යනවා. ඉතින් ගහලා එනවා. හරි, කොහොම සීන් එකක් තියෙනවා. So, make up new C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. Then half arrow එකක් දාගන්න. ඒකෙන් හැදෙනවා C12H22O11 plus H2O on the equation එක. හරි, ඕකනේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අපි දැන් that is what we have in our mind, the question we had in our mind. What happens here? මොකද්ද මෙතන if this double, if this thing, if the simple sugar thing is doubling out, what is happening here? Why are there 24 hydrogens and 12 oxygens? Why? What happened to the 2 hydrogens and single oxygen? And that is how they made water and kicked out of the equation, kicked out of existence. අපේ මෙතනින් යවුවා එළියට. ඕක තමයි how they make disaccharides from monosaccharides. 2 monosaccharide molecules වලින් disaccharide එකක් හදන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම. හරි. එතකොට මේක හදනවා වගේම මෙන්න මේ දෙන්න අරගෙන disaccharide එකකට වතුර දාලා අපි රත් කරොත්, heat කරොත් අපිට ආපහු ඒ disaccharide එක කඩලා monosaccharide එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. So අන්න ඒක, so it goes both ways. මේ දෙක එකතු කරලා we can make disaccharide and a water molecule. But if we take the disaccharide and we put in some water and then we heat it up, energy දීලා heat කරාට පස්සේ we can take 2 monosaccharide molecules. 2 monosaccharides. හරි, අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් monosaccharides දෙකක් disaccharide එකට වතුර දාලා heat කරොත්. හරි, අන්න එකක් ලියන්න. So it happens both ways. So this comes in the අපේ disaccharide column එකේ කොහොම හරි ලියා ගන්න. So you have the idea now. I explained you. So write it down under the disaccharide column. So we are discussing about the qualities of disaccharide. So it is right sweet, generally sweet as well, and generally sweet. Just like the monosaccharide, disaccharides are also sweet. So it is water soluble as well. On the other hand, it is water soluble as well. ඔන්න ඔය දෙකම එක වගේ. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බැලුවම තේරෙනවා monosaccharide disaccharide, you know, quite the same. I mean, they have generally a sweet taste, and along with that, both are water soluble, so no problems there. And crystals as well. Okay, both things are crystal shaped. So ඒ දෙකම එක වගේ කියලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා. So now we are going to the hard one, polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are made up from a number of monosaccharides get together to make a polysaccharide. So polysaccharide QM, you get the idea, it should be a chain like substance, you know. මේ ගොඩක් එකට එකතු වෙලා හැදෙනවා නම් chain එකක් වගේ හැදිලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. So you get the idea, this should be a chain or something, right? Polysaccharide come chain එකක් වගේ. So my fourth question is, no, not the fourth question. I would like you all to write this. Next question is, how does a polysaccharide is formed? How does a polysaccharide molecule is formed? Write that down. Fourth question, how does a polysaccharide is formed? ඒක columns වලට යටින් කොහෙන් ලියා ගන්න. How does a polysaccharide molecule is formed කියලා කොහෙන් හරි ලියා ගන්න. හරි. ලියලා උත්තරේ ලියා ගන්න. For the polymerization, the answer is polymerization. Polymerization of a larger number of monosaccharides form a polysaccharide molecule. Polymerization of large number of monosaccharides form a polysaccharide molecule. Polysaccharide molecule එකක් හදන්නේ polymerization කියන process එකෙන්. Polymerization කියන්නේ they get together, the monosaccharides get together and form a chain. Simply understand that. Monosaccharides get together and forms a chain. On a chain එකක් හදන එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ polymerization කියලා. So from polymerization you make the polysaccharide molecule. හරි. ඕක තමයි fourth question එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්න. හරි. එතකොට answer එකත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එතරම් තියෙනවා. Right. දැන් මෙන්න මේ polysaccharide column එකේ අපි තව ලියන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා. Yes, I'll repeat the question. Good. හරි. chat එකේ එහෙම දාන්න. එතකොට it's clear. How does a polysaccharide molecule is formed? Okay, how does a polysaccharide molecule is formed? Polysaccharide molecule එක කොහොමද හැදෙන්නේ? How is it formed? Polysaccharide molecule එක කොහොමද form වෙන්නේ? How is it formed? ඔක තමයි question එක. And for that answer is by polymerization of large number of monosaccharide molecules. Polysaccharide is formed. By polymerization of large number of monosaccharide molecules, the polysaccharide molecule is formed. So I slowed it down so you can catch it up. Right, good. So that is that. Fourth question, answer is given. That is that. Okay. And then now we are going back to the table. Columns columns are the polysaccharide in column again. So we have written the formula, and following that we have given the examples. Example starch, glycogen and cellulose. Those are the examples. And then under that, after everything, now we are talking about the qualities. Qualities are නිකම් එතනම ලියාගෙන polymerization කියලා. නිකම් mention කරගන්න by polymerization කියලා මේක හැදෙන්නේ. polymerization කියන එක ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න ඕනේ. monosaccharides chain එකක් වගේ එකට එකතු වෙලා by chaining up, monosaccharide chaining up reaction එකකින් තමයි polymerization කියන්නේ. From polymerization the polysaccharide is formed. ඔක නිකම් polymerization කියලා මෙතන නිකම් වචනයක් ලියාගන්න. So that when you look at that you remember from polymerization is this. or chain එක හදනවා. So now this is formed. හරි. ඕක ඔයාලා මතක් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. ඊළඟට qualities තව තුනක් තියෙනවා. Now here polysaccharides are different from monosaccharides and disaccharides. This is the exact opposite of monosaccharide and disaccharides. Di and monosaccharide වල same qualities නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාට තිබ්බේ. So අපි ඒක ලියුවා. So here polysaccharides වල that is quite the exact opposite to disaccharides and monosaccharides. So what is the exact opposite? What are the exact opposite qualities? This is polysaccharides, they are not sweet. මේ දෙකම generally sweet. This is not sweet. Pitti starch, it is not sweet. Pitti කටේ දාන්න sweet ද නෑ. හරි. starch වල අලගෙඩි වල තියෙන අලගෙඩිය කෑම පැණි නැහැනේ. බතල වල නම් ටිකක් පැණහක් තියෙනවා because it has a lot of monosaccharide components or sucrose disaccharide components as well. So නිකන් ඔය පිෂ්ඨය කියන එක ගත්තොත් it is not sweet, not sweet. Not water soluble. ඒ කියන්නේ water insoluble කියන එක. හරි මම term එක කෙලින්ම දෙන්න තු කිව්වේ අර meaning එකත් එක්ක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට clear වෙන හින්දා. Not water soluble. Polysaccharides are not water soluble quality එක. That means water insoluble. Water soluble නැහැ කියන එකට අපි English term එක water insoluble. හරි insoluble. You can see insoluble. Water insoluble. හරි ඊට පස්සේ they are not crystals. Crystal shapes උත් නැහැ. Monosaccharides are crystal shaped, disaccharides are crystal shaped, but polysaccharides are not crystal shaped. Hari so exact opposite. Hari almost the exact opposite. Although they are made up with monosaccharides getting together in the process of polymerization, polysaccharides are quite the opposite of monosaccharides and disaccharides regarding the qualities. Right. So අපි උතන ගොඩක් discuss කරා carbohydrates ගැන. So මම හිතන්නේ ලොකු clear idea එකක් ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඇති. හරි. So මේගොල්ලෝගේ table එකේ මේගොල්ලෝගේ දීලා තියෙනවා දැන් carbohydrates වල monosaccharides වල table එකක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? Disaccharides වල table එකක් තියෙනවා. Here they have given the equation. Equation. නේ මම ඔයාලා ලියලා පෙන්නුවේ ලස්සනට මෙහෙමයි මේක හැදෙන්නේ මේ H2O is thrown away and these two get together and balance it out. හරි ඒක මේගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා monosaccharide plus disaccharide plus H2O molecule කියලා. හරි that is good. So එතනක් table එකක් තියෙනවා polysaccharides වලට table එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි. So now I'm going to ask you to write down the fifth question. Fifth question එක මේක ලියා ගන්න. පුතාලා මේ අපේ lessons වල දැන් what is special about our English medium classes කියලා අහුවොත් each and every lesson I am giving you specific questions which are made by me. I am writing these which are made by me and I have organized your answer according to your textbook and your lesson. A lesson එකේ තියෙන විදිහට answer එකක් හදලා for you to remember everything in a snap. හරි ඒක O level exam target කරලා තමයි මේ questions හදන්නේ either for the MCQ or for the structure. මේ අනිවාර්යෙන් කොහේ තැනක it comes. You mark my words, it will come. Okay, in your exam or in 2023 even, you can see it will come. Alright, so the next question is, what is glucose and define its purpose in our body? What is glucose and define its purpose in our body? That is the fifth question. Glucose කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? ඒකට අපේ ශරීරය තුල ඇති කාර්යභාරය කුමක්ද? ඔක තමයි මම define කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි? Right. ඕකට උත්තරේ තමයි මම දැන් දෙන්නේ. හරි ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ textbook එකේ table එකේ තියෙනවා but ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ බැලුවට මතක තියාගන්න නැහැ. මේ question එකෙන් තමයි අපි උත්තරේ answer එක හරියට මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. We are trying to remember the answer, we are trying to remember the fact through a specific question and this question is very important. මොකද sucrose, the fructose, the galactose, the maltose ඔය අනිත් polysaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide examples වලට වඩා more than each and every those examples, glucose is very important in our body because ඒක තමයි අපේ basic molecule එක. It is included in everything. If you see for yourself, මේක බැලුවොත් glucose is everywhere. So anyway, glucose is going to come in your exams as well. Right? So glucose කියන්නේ මොකක්ද and then what is the purpose? Define its purpose in our body. Right? Glucose is the end product. Glucose, write this down. The answer is glucose is the end product of hydrolysis. Nathan, glucose is the end product during hydrolysis of all starchy food. Glucose is the end product during hydrolysis of all starchy foods. Starchy foods, that means polysaccharides. Polysaccharides hydrolyze කරාම ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක කැඩුවම polysaccharides කඩනකොට අපිට එන්නේ අන්තිම end product එක glucose. මම මේක තමයි glucose ගැන කියන්නේ. Glucose is the final end product of during hydrolysis of starchy food, all starchy food. හරි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්න නැති. එතකොට hydrolysis කියන්නේ එතනම ලියා ගන්න brackets දාලා hydrolysis is breakdown of a substance, breakdown of a compound. හරි breakdown of chemical compound, that is hydrolysis. මොකද ජලයක hydrolysis කියලා මේක meaning එක දෙන්නේ එතන වතුර තියෙනවා. වතුරත් අයින් කළා මෙයාව break down කරනවා නම් ඒකට අපි කියනවා hydrolysis. If we are to break down something and kick out its water component, ඒ කියන්නේ එයාගේ තියෙන ඒ chemical compound එකක් මේ chemical compound එකක් නා chemical compound එකක් නා මෙයාගේ ඇතුලේ වතුර තියෙනවා H2O H2O H2O. මම මෙයාව ඩෝග් ගාලා ගිහලා කඩලා දානකොට මෙයාගේ තියෙන වතුර ටිකත් මම ගහලා පන්නනවා එළියට වීසි කරනවා වාෂ්ප කරලා යවනවා මේක තමයි hydrolysis කියන්නේ. Hydrolysis means take out its water component and break it down. හරි simple terms වලින් දැම්මොත් take out its water component and break it down. හරි ඇයි hydrolysis කියන්නේ heat up heating up කරාම hydrolysis කියන process එක කරන energy දෙන්නේ heating up by heating. මම මේ පොතේ තියෙනව නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ. This is the actual science. I'm telling you the actual science. So you can write it down, draw it down, whatever. Choose for yourself. If you are to break down something with hydrolysis, we support එයාට energy දෙන්න බෑ. දැන් මේ process එකට දැන් මම මේ විද්‍ය කරන්න ඕන මිටියෙන් ගහන්න ඕන විද්‍යට. හරි. එතකොට මම ශක්තියෙන් ගහන්න එපා. ශක්තිය දාලා I have to use force, I have to use my energy. අර ඒ වගේ යමක් කඩන්න නම් you have to break something, you have to use force, by force, energy supply කරන්නේ heat. හරි. එතකොට රත් කරලා heat up කරලා energy දෙනකොට කොහොමද වතුර ටික යනවා. hydrolysis energy දුන්නම මේ වතුර ටික වාෂ්ප වෙනවා vaporize වෙනවා hydrolysis. හරි ඕක තමයි process එක. So if you are to break something, if you are to break starchy foods, හරි එතකොට ඔක්කොම starch පිෂ්ඨයේ තියෙන food break down කරනකොට hydrolysis කරලා වතුර අයින් කරනකොට end product එක glucose කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා. But then I have explained you in the most simple terms. හරි මීට වඩා මේක තේරුම් කරන්න බෑ. So you have to understand that. හරිද පුතා? So ඊළඟ එක plants produce glucose during photosynthesis. ඔය දෙකම ලියා ගන්න. හරි අතන කොහොමද produce කරන්නේ glucose and then plants produce glucose via photosynthesis during photosynthesis. Plants produce glucose during photosynthesis. And then අපි අහුව question එකේ what is the exact purpose of glucose in living body? හරි define the purpose of glucose in living body. Purpose is to produce energy by breaking down glucose in cellular respiration. The purpose of glucose in living body is to produce energy by breaking down glucose in cellular respiration. You can't just imagine those things. Those are very complicated things. Glucose කියන එක cellular respiration කියන process එකේදී break down කරනවා. cellular respiration කියන්නේ පුතාලා ස්වායු ශ්වසනය. හරි ස්වායු ශ්වසනය. හරි cellular respiration. දැන් මම ඔන්න මේ අඳිනවා cell එකක්. මේක animal cell එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. plant cell එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් whatever. animal cell එකක් නම් මෙතන තියෙන්නේ plasma membrane එක විතරයි. plant cell එකක් නම් cell wall එක තියෙනවා. You know that. හරි cell wall එකේ cellulose තියෙනවා. cell දැන් මේ animal cell එකේ මොකක්ද cell එකේ nucleus එක මෙතන තියෙනවා. හරි nucleus එක මෙතන තියෙනවා ලස්සන තියෙනවා. ඔය cellular organs අනන් තැන් වල තියෙනවා. ඔන්න මෙන්න මේ හරිය කොහොමද ඉන්නවා mitochondria කියලා එකේ. ලස්සන item එකක්. Write this down, draw it out. Mitochondria කියලා එකේ. මෙයාට අපි කියනවා mitochondria කියලා. මේ mitochondria කට්ටිය තමයි අපි cells වල මේ ඇගේ තියෙන organs වල තියෙන මේ හැමතැනම තියෙන cells වල මේ විදිහට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හරි you know the cellular structure. Mitochondria කියලා කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා. එක්කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි තව ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා. මම එක්කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ so you can see clearly what happens here. හරි mitochondria කියලා ඉන්නවා. එයාගේ බෝල් එකකුත් තියෙනවා අස්ස. හරි mitochondria වල තමයි අපේ cellular level එකේදී energy හදන්නේ. හරි cellular level එකේදී energy හදන්නේ mitochondria වල. ඒ mitochondria වල තමයි cellular respiration ඇයි cell එකේ වෙන respiration cellular respiration. හරි cell එකේ cell level එකේ වෙන respiration cellular respiration. මෙන්න මෙයාගේ තමයි cellular respiration වෙන්නේ. කියලා තියාගන්න. Mitochondria is the cellular component which does cellular respiration. ඔය ඉගෙන තියාගන්න. පොඩ ලස්සනට මතක facts විදියට. කොහොමද පාඩම් කරනකොට තොරතුරු ලියන්න you don't write information in paragraphs. When you write information in paragraph, especially girls, you won't be able to remember those things. You won't be able to study those things. Paragraph in detail ලියන්නේ පුතා මතක තියාගන්න නෙමෙයි. We use paragraph වගේ storytelling methods වල. කතන්දර ලියනවා paragraph යොදා ගන්න. If you are to remember something, you write it as facts, pinpoint facts. මගේ ඔය O level A level seminars ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා තියෙන motivation seminars වල මම කියනවා exam වලට දේවල් ලියනකොට pinpoint facts විදිහට ලියන්න කියලා. paragraph වලින් දේවල් ලියනකොට psychologically අපි we don't tend to study those, we don't tend to remember those, we tend to forget those rather than remembering those. So write whatever I tell you, write those in point forms. Sorry, point forms. So mitochondria is the cellular component which does cellular respiration at cellular level. හරි ඕනයි කරන්නේ. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ වගේ තැන්වලදී මයිටොකොන්ඩ්‍රියා එකේදී පුතා මෙතනට එනවා අපේ ග්ලූකෝස්. හරි. the glucose ඇවිල්ලා glucose breakdown එකක් ඔයගේ තැන්වල වෙනවා. හරි. it's a very complicated story. ඔතනට adenosine triphosphate or ATP වගේ දේවල් ඇවිල්ලා oxygen release කරනවා. ඔයගේ ගොඩාක් කතන්දර වෙනවා. cellular level එකේදී තමයි glucose breakdown එක වෙන්නේ. I'm just drawing out things so you have a better understanding what is happening there. cellular respiration එකේදී මේ glucose මෙතනට ඇවිල්ලා glucose පාවිච්චි කරලා mitochondria ඒවා break down කරලා energy release කරනවා. glucose වලින් energy release කරනවා. හරි energy release කරනවා මේ cellular level එකේදී mitochondria glucose කඩලා energy release කරනවා cellular activities. ඒ කියන්නේ cellular activities and bodily tissue activities වලට දැන් අපේ ඇඟේ දැන් මම මෙහෙම හිතන්න මම මෙහෙම අත උස්සනවා. මේකට මට strength එක එන්නේ මගේ muscle එකේ. හරි ඇත්තටම දැන් මම මෙහෙම අත උස්සන්න නම් bicep එකට වඩා tricep එක වැඩ කරනවා. shoulder මෙතනින් එන girdle muscles මේ medicine කියන්නේ අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. you don't need those but I'm just telling you මෙන්න මෙහෙම කරන්න මට bicep එක ඕනේ. හරි මෙහෙම කරන්න bicep එක ඕනේ. එතකොට එහෙම කරන්න bicep එක ඕන වෙනකොට bicep එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද muscle එක. how are the muscles made? muscles මේ හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ පොඩි tissues වලින්. හරි පොඩි tissues වලින්. මේ tissues හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද? cells වලින්. So everything goes down to the basic level which is the cellular level. එතකොට අන්තිමේදී බැලුවොත් if you take one look deep inside you understand everything is done by the cells. ඒ මේ cell එකෙන් cell එක energy දාලා තමයි tissue එක අදින්නේ. tissues ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා තමයි muscle එක අදින්නේ. muscle එක වැඩ කරන්නේ එන cellular level එකෙන් පටන් ගන්න. It should definitely start from the cellular level for us to do anything, even to think. brain එකේ cellular level එකෙන් තමයි we are thinking. Okay, so cellular level එකේ energy හදන්නේ කොහොමද? cellular respiration mitochondria වල glucose breakdown එකෙන් තමයි cellular level එකේ energy හදන්නේ and the process is called cellular respiration. ඔන්න දැන් මම ලොකු ස්ටෝරි එකක් ඕගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වා. මේකේ පොතේ තියෙන මේ වචන වාක්‍ය තුනක් වගේ තියෙනවා. ඒක මම මේ කිව්වේ. හරි. So you have an idea energy is released during breakdown of glucose in cellular respiration. Hari. I hope every one of you all here Hari, you got the idea. You got what I meant from cellular respiration. Hari, where it happens, who does it, how it happens, what happens, මොකද release වෙන energy, ඇයි ඒක energy release කරන්නේ මේගොල්ලෝ අපි cellular level එකේ energy අවශ්‍ය හින්දා because to do everything in our reality to use our energy we have to do it from the cellular level. The theory is the exact reality is whatever we do it from the cellular level. We initiate it from the cellular level. ඒ හින්දා අපිට cellular level එකේ energy ඕනේ. We develop it from breaking down of glucose. Right. So glucose ගැන total idea එකක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? So I explained it more than enough. That is more than enough for you. හරි? Okay. So fructose. ඊළඟට they have given the examples for everything. So glucose තියෙන ripened fruits. Ripened fruits කියන්නේ ඉදිච්ච පළතුරු කියන එක. Ripened කියන්නේ ඉදිච්ච. හරි ripened fruits and bee honey. Me pen. ඉතින් ඔයාලා දන්නවා definitely they are very tasty, they are very sweet. Those things should definitely consist of glucose and fructose වගේ දේවල්. Okay, fructose කියන්නේ පුතාලා I think yes fructose කියන්නේ ඔය plants වල දැන් අපි කියවනේ plants වල they make glucose from photosynthesis කියලා. හරි. So we told you all I taught you all and you should know by now plants make glucose from photosynthesis. So they what they do is in the fruit of the tree, let's say in the fruit of the plant, එතන තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ glucose store කරන්නේ. මේගොල්ලෝ produce කරන glucose ඒගොල්ලෝ phloem tissue එක you will be learning this in grade 11. phloem and xylem tissue එක ගැන අපි we are teaching in grade 11. phloem tissue එකේ තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ transport කරන්නේ plant එකේ. I have this bad habit of trying to draw everything I explain because that's how I study. Right? I want you to follow the exact example, because if you need to study something, you should always draw that and write stuff, and name stuff. That way you keep that in your mind more longer, long term memory. That's how long term memory comes. Okay, so not by just looking at the book for 10, 11 hours, but try to figure out things, drawings, graphics yourself. If you take the tree, this is the leaf section, okay, and there are fruits. හරිද leaf section එකේදී photosynthesis ඉරේලිය ඇවිල්ලා photosynthesis වුණාම ඒ තියෙන food item glucose නේ හැදෙන්නේ. So what we do is we make glucose. හරිද glucose හැදුනම phloem tissue එක දැන් මේ tree එකේ phloem tissue එක පල්ලෙහාට යනකම් එනවා trunk එක දිගේ. හරිද මේ වගේ මේවටත් යනවා. හරි phloem tissue එක through the phloem tissue tree එකේ glucose is transported into the fruit of the tree. ඒකේ තියෙන ඵලය වෙත fruit of the tree එක වෙත phloem tissue එක ඔස්සේ through the phloem tissue the glucose are transported into the fruit of the tissue and they are stored ගබඩා කරනවා in the fruit of the tree as fructose. right fructose comes there. ඔතන තමයි fructose වල තියෙන important point එක. ඒගොල්ලෝ store කරන්නේ glucose ගහක පළතුරක fructose විදියට. හරි ඒකයි මේකේ තියෙන ripened fruits වල වැඩිපුරම තියෙන glucose නෙවෙයි fructose. හරි bee, honey, pumpkin, carrots examples. Right? See, they have given that. Fructose is known as fruit sugar. And why is that? Fruit එකේ වැඩිපුරම තියෙන sugar fructose. දැන් මම කිව්ව මුළු process එකම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා නේද? මේක තමයි මේකට කියන්නේ fruit sugar කියන්නේ fruit එකේ තියෙන sugar fructose. හරි. ඊළඟට fructose is formed during ripening of fruits. පළතුරු ඉදෙද්දි තමයි මේක හැදෙන ඇවිල්ලා තැම්පත් වෙලා store කරන්නේ. This is the sweetest sugar. Yes, truly exactly. Sweetest sugar is not glucose. අපි කන සීනිවත් නෙමෙයි. පළතුරු වල තියෙන fruit එකේ තියෙන sugar තමයි sweet. වඩාත්ම පැණි රහ. ඒක තමයි ඉදිච්ච පළතුරු වල පුදුම පැණි රහක් තියෙන. The sweetness is like nectar. I don't know, but they say it's like nectar. Okay? nectar කියන්නේ මේ දිව්‍ය ලෝකේ තියෙන පැණි වලට nectar කියලා English වලින් කියනවා. So that's if you didn't know that already. So that's that. Galactose is in dairy products. Kiri වර්ගවල the end product during hydrolysis of lactose. No sweet taste. The end product during hydrolysis of lactose. Galactose. No sweet taste. Galactose වල sweet taste එකක් නෑ. That is something different from the typical monosaccharides. But still galactose doesn't have that. ඒක ලියලා තියාගන්න. Galactose doesn't have the sweet taste like glucose or fructose කියලා ඕන ලියලා තියාගන්න because you initially took all the monosaccharides are sweet killer, generally sweet killer. We took the categorization quality, but still galactose are not that sweet. They are not generally sweet. Okay. So hydrolysis of lactose කියන්නේ lactose ඔබලා දන්නවා. It's a disaccharide. Disaccharide lactose එක break down කරනකොට hydrolysis කරන රත් කළා water molecule එලවලා එහෙමනේ. ඒතකොට hydrolysis කරද්දී end product එක galactose කියලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Okay. So they have given that. All right. I think you have written everything up to now. So if there's any more queries, questions, lagging behind stuff, please write it down. Chat box, okay? So I know where you are exactly. So we have few more things to cover up. It's quite interesting when the biology and chemistry comes together. It's quite interesting because if you learn biology only, it's very boring, and if you learn chemistry only, it's very difficult actually. Because in my experience, I think grade 11 වලට වඩා grade 10 science syllabus එක තමයි advanced. And although it's grade 10, the things which consists in the syllabus and the subject matter is quite advanced. Grade 11 යද්දී you get that feeling. Okay, when you go to grade 11, you will get that feeling. Science syllabus එකේ පුතාලා it's okay. It's actually manageable. But in grade 10, what I understand is for you all at your age, this is quite advanced. Okay, so it's good in a way because you will be making up with your mind that a standard එකට එනවා කොහොම හරි. And the other thing is chemistry. Chemistry is the hardest in all your science, not biology, not physics. It's chemistry. All of my students which I'm doing personal coaching for many students, A levels, 2022, I've done 269. It's the count who took personal coaching from me. And now in O levels as well, 2022 O levels well, the Naval O level cut again, I think nearly more than 100 now have taken coaching sessions from me. So the most number of complaints I've received is from the chemistry section, not the biology, not the physics. Most of them are not good with chemistry. It's true. Chemistry is a bit advanced than biology and physics even combined together. Because organic compounds, inorganic, it's very hard to imagine. Those are not imaginative stuff. If you take biology, body organs, we can imagine at least. But the chemistry thing, even in physics, we can imagine. Chemistry is not like that. So there's that difference. So make sure when you study chemistry, put a lot of effort. Otherwise, you will be coming back, trying to get it again and again. You'll be wasting a lot of time. Okay. Okay. So we are going to disaccharides. I'm going through this a bit quicker than monosaccharides because I'm going to explain. Two monosaccharides join to form disaccharides, two, right? So during the process, water molecule is released. I've explained this. I've drawn you the equation. In the same way, relevant monosaccharides can be obtained by hydrolyzing disaccharides. Disaccharide එක hydrolyze කරලා heat up කරලා water molecule එක එළවුවම monosaccharides දෙකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ equation එක දීලා තියෙනවා. So ඒගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා maltose, sucrose, lactose ගැන table එකේ. So you write that, you read that. Okay, you read that and get the important points. But before that, I want you to write the next question. What is the only sugar that is absent in plants? This is a MCQ. Truly, this is a MCQ you will be getting in your O levels. And this will come. If not the O levels, at least in your term tests. But something like this, I am expecting this year or next year, maybe MCQs. So I'm truly expecting these kind of MCQs. What is the only sugar that is absent in plants? The only sugar that is absent in plants is lactose. Why? Lactose is present in dairy products. Galactose monosaccharides, we discussed galactose in monosaccharides that is present in dairy products. And galactose is formed by hydrolyzing lactose. Again, lactose disaccharide we break down lactose, we get galactose. Galactose dairy products, lactose definitely in dairy products. But the only sugar which is not in plants, which is not found in plants is lactose. Lactose tamai plants වල හොයාගන්න බැරි sugar එක කියලා. මේක MCQ එකක්. හරි, definitely. So maltose, they have told us it is present in germinating seeds. Germinating seed එක කියන්නේ පුතාලා පැලවෙන ඇටයකට. ඔය මුං ඇටවල ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති මුං බීන් එකේ ඒකේ දැන් ඇත්තටම ටිකක් කල් කොහොම මේ තෙත විදියට මොනවාද ඇත්තටම සමහර මුං ඇට තියෙනවා අර රෑට අපි ඒක වතුරේ පොඟවලා. You must have seen this with your parents. Your mother must be doing, she might be preparing these for tomorrow's breakfast, but අද ඒක වතුරේ පොඟවලා තියලා හෙට උදේ සමහර වෙලාවට බලන්න සමහරක් මුං ඇට පැලවෙලා. පැලලා කියන මුල් ඇදලා අර මේක අග්‍රස්ථාංකුරේ කියන එක හරි. ගන්න මේක ඉංග්‍රීසිට ඒක එළියට ඇවිල්ලා පොඩි කොලයක් කෑල්ලක් එක්ක කොහොම වෙනවා. දවස් දෙකක් විතර තිබ්බම අනිවාර්යෙන් එනවා. අර ඒකේ මෙන්න මේ සීඩ් එක ඇක්ටිව්, මාර ඇක්ටිව්. හරි, වතුරේ දාලා තිබ්බ මාර ඇක්ටිව්. ඒකෙන් එළියට පොඩි නට්ටක් ඇවිල්ලා කොලයක් දෙකක් එනවා. ඕක තමයි ජර්මිනේටිංg සීඩ් එක කියන්නේ. actively implant වෙන්න පුළුවන් එක තමයි germinating seed එක කියලා කියන්නේ. actively implant වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේක පොඟවලා නිකන් බිමට දැම්මත් පැලවෙනවා. ඒ වගේ තමයි germinating seed. මොකද මෙතන nutritions මාන විදිහට තියෙනවා. එතනින් වැඩිපුරම මෙන්න මේ අපි කියන maltose කියන එක තියෙනවා. That's why they have given us that example with the location of its presence. හරි? Germinating seeds. So maltose, sucrose and lactose. හරිද? Okay, I'll do the equations first. මේ තුන හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? මොන වගේද? අපිට මේක මෙතන කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? polysaccharides වලට බෑ. මොකද polysaccharides කියන්නේ chain එකක්. but disaccharides we can. හරිද? maltose number 1, maltose, and then there's sucrose and lactose. Sucrose, third one lactose. හරිද? Write this down. maltose, sucrose, lactose. හරි. මේක හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? මේක හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? මේක හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? හරි. maltose හැදෙන්නේ with the combination of two glucose molecules. හරි. glucose plus glucose, maltose plus H2O. That is the first equation. Glucose plus glucose, it can happen this way and it can also go in the other way, because if we මෙතන යටින් මෙහෙම මේක දාලා hydrolyze කරොත් රත් කරලා heat up කරලා if we break down this using heat, that is hydrolyzation, glucose which makes maltose can be reversible as well. Take out the water molecule, we can get two more glucose molecules. And ඕක හැමතැනම is the same. හරි. So maltose is made up with two glucose molecules. හරි. ඊළඟට when we have a glucose molecule with a fructose molecule, we can make sucrose molecule plus water, H2O, the second one. When you have a glucose molecule along with the fructose molecule, we can make sucrose and water. And then the third one, when we have a glucose molecule together with the galactose molecule, we can make lactose plus water, H2O. Goes in the other way as well, just like the top two equations. So the OA tuna, or we did a try to remember those things in that order. So they have given that in the table as well, but I've explained to you what happens here, what happens here, what happens here, so that you get a better idea rather than writing it down from the table itself. Okay, so they have given the example. Remember those, sucrose is present in white and brown sugar. That you know, අපි කන sugar වල වැඩිපුරම තියෙන sucrose. හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක අපි කියන hyper sugar කියලා. අර අපි කන sugar තේකට දාන සීනි, සුදු සීනි, දුඹුරු සීනි, white sugar, brown sugar වැඩිපුරම තියෙන්නේ sucrose. Okay. So sugar cane and beet වල තියෙනවා. Sugar cane means uk. අර uk. ශාකයේ කඳ හරි පැණි රසයි හැපුවම that is sugar cane. ඒක තියෙනවා sucrose, and beetroot වල sucrose තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right. In dairy products, lactose is there. And lactose is the only sugar that is absent in plants. Without chemical, why? What is this? What's the chemical combination written for lactose? මෙහෙම. අපි දුන්න disaccharides වලට chemical combination එකක්. ඒක තමයි තුනටම එන්නේ. Disaccharides වලට chemical combination එකක් දුන්නනේ. C12, C12, H22O11, I think, right? O11. Yes, C12, H22O11. That is for disaccharides. ඊළඟට ඒක තමයි maltose කියන්නේ. ඒක තමයි sucrose කියන්නේ. ඒක තමයි lactose කියන්නේ. That is the same equation. But how does each and everything differ from each other? කොහොමද fructose maltose වෙනස් වෙන්නේ sucrose වලින්? කොහොමද sucrose වෙනස් වෙන්නේ lactose වලින්? මම කිව්වා just like in glucose අර වගේ අර chemical formula එක වුණාට chemical compound formula එක වුණාට ඒකේ තියෙන 3D feature එක වෙනස්. ඒකේ carbon තියෙන tang වෙනස්. තියෙන bonds වෙනස්. This is in advanced chemistry. හරිද? මේක compound combination, the compound formulas ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඕන වෙන්නේ advanced chemistry A levels වල, but A levels වලත් මේ වගේ දේවල් අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මේ equations ලියන ඒවාට විතරයි. මෙතන ඔක්කොම එකම formula එක මතක තියාගන්න. monosaccharides වල එකම formula එක. Disaccharide වල එකම formula එක, polysaccharide n times ඒක එක එකව එන්න පුළුවන්. So එකම formula එක ඇවිල්ලා how it differs from each other is from the 3D structure of itself. Disaccharide එක එකකින් එකක් වෙනස් වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? lactose වල 3D structure එක. හරි. එයාගේ එකම formula එක but 3D තියෙන්නේ වෙනස් විදිහට. Sucrose වල එකම formula එක but 3D තියෙන්නේ වෙනස් විදිහට. maltose is the same, right? Okay. So now we are coming to the polysaccharide section. Polysaccharides වල it's the same. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා what I taught you all from the question. මතකද question එකක් දීලා මම ඇහුවා polysaccharide හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? Polymerization process එක chain එකක් හදනවා monosaccharides වලින්. They are making up the chain from monosaccharides single units. ඒවා chain එකක් හදලා ඒකට තමයි polymerization කියන්නේ. Polymerization එකෙන් තමයි polysaccharide එක හැදෙන්නේ. I have explained it you all perfectly well. Okay. So right now you know it better than most of the people who are being taught English medium science. Okay. So the thing is polymerization of a large number of monosaccharides form a polysaccharide molecule. Polymerization of a large number of monosaccharides form a polysaccharide molecule. Okay, so you got that. And then again, in reverse reaction, reversible, it is reversible as well. In disaccharides, you can break down into monosaccharides. Polysaccharide also, you can break down into the last number of basic element molecules, the monosaccharides. Hydrolysis of polysaccharide results in relevant monosaccharides. Simple, no? Hydrolyze karama, heat up color, water molecules in karama, you can break down it into monosaccharides. And they have given the qualities not soluble in water, not crystals. Examples to tamai. Cellulose, starch, and glycogen. Many are important examples to now. Right? Okay. I'm going to make facts. Write these things. May table like a bad water muddy, but may lian no. Polysaccharides kill a dala, may make a lian, polysaccharides. Up you one is a question like by polymerization of large number of monosaccharides, you can form a polysaccharide killer and then minimum examples to cellulose. First example, cellulose present in cell wall of plant cells and in fibers. Clear. Present in cell walls of plant cells. Present in cell walls of plant cells. And then second one, starch. Starch you can find in grains, yams, jack, breadfruit. But make a starch swelling is not clear. This is the type of carbohydrate that stores in plants. Plant starch vidiyata egollo gabada karana. Starch vidya piste vidiyata plants wala monawada polysaccharide egollo egollo hadana energy gabada karනවා starch vidiyata plants wala carbohydrate store karනවා. Carbohydrate storage compound එක නේ. එතකොට carbohydrate is stored in plants as starch. Starch carbohydrate is stored in plants as starch. And then antimega glycogen, carbohydrate is stored in animal body as glycogen. Then උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අර අපි කිව්වා plants වල දැන් මේක store කරනවා starch විදිහට අපේ දැන් හිතන්න carbohydrate අපි store කරනවා අපේ body එකේ. හරි. Carbohydrate store කරනවා මම හිතන්නේ මගේ muscle එක. Again we come to the bicep. Bicep එකේ muscle එකේ carbohydrate energy. Carbohydrate means energy. Energy store කරනවා muscle එකේ. කොහොමද store කරන්නේ? Glycogen විදියට. ඒකට මට energy resources energy ඕන නම් හොඳට වැඩක් කරගෙන glycogen stores තියෙනවා නම් හොඳට වැඩ හයිය දාලා වැඩ කරනවා. මොකද glycogen stores තියෙනවා මගේ muscles වල. හරි. වැඩ කරගන්න ගොඩක්ම glycogen stores තියෙන muscles වල නෙමෙයි ඇත්තටම liver එකේ. හරි. In the liver, we have the most number of glycogen storage units, type glycogen stores, so that we can get it down, break it down, and do our day-to-day activities. Using those glycogen storage units, break it down, hydrolyze, and take out the glucose and work it out in the cellular level. So, for example, like muscle like glycogen stores tibba, මට හොඳට වැඩ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට වැඩ කරනවා කියලා ඔළුවට ආම ඉන්නේ muscles නේ. So, not the liver and the components, right? I just want you all to know the important facts, important functions of these three examples. Cellulose, plant cell wall consist in the plant cell wall. Starch carbohydrate main storage component in plants. Glycogen carbohydrate main storage component in animal body. That is more than enough. They have given the structure of a glucose molecule here, the green one, for extra knowledge that you shouldn't be focusing on. You shouldn't be focusing on because that is advanced chemistry or benzene make up ready. Okay. Now next question. I think question number 7 or 8. What are the importance or significance of carbohydrates? Make a points. What are the importance, significance of carbohydrates? What are the importance or the significance of carbohydrates? Number one is as an energy source. The main source to obtain energy for activities of organisms is carbohydrates. Monosaccharides, glucose are produced due to hydrolysis of these compounds, releasing energy. Monosaccharides glucose වගේ දේවල් අපි හදාගන්නේ carbohydrates hydrolyze කරලා complex carbohydrates starch glycogen වගේ දේවල් hydrolyze කරලා glucose හදනකොට energy release වෙනවා energy වලින් තමයි අපි ශක්තිය අරන් වැඩ කරන්නේ හරි අන්න ඒක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ හරිද එතකොට energy source එකක් විදිහට carbohydrate තියෙනවා. Number 1 is as an energy source. Number 2 storage component. Storage compound කියතියි component එකක්. Storage compound starch and glycogen examples. Number 3 structural component in plant cell wall cellulose example like cellulose. Structural component in plant cell wall. Number 4 constituent of nucleic acid. Nucleic acids DNA and RNA වල constituent එකක් විදියට constituent එකක් කියන්නේ ඒකේ සංඝටකයක් කියන එක. සංඝටකයක් විදියට තමයි carbohydrates තියෙනවා nucleic acids වල DNA and RNA වල. Okay, number 4.4. Okay. Right. අද අපි මේ this is the first lesson, so we are going to අර අපි හොඳට explain කරා මේ carbohydrates ගැන. මොකද next week we are focusing on proteins and lipids and minerals. එතන water ඔක්කොම අපිට ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන් next week because that is not much, there are not much things to discuss. This vitamins තියෙනවා. Next week we can finish the whole lesson because carbohydrates වගේ එක අපි ලොකු strength එකක් දාලා ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට exam එකට ගියාම තේරෙයි exam එකේ ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න මේ nutrients ගැන chemical compounds ගැන කතා කරනවා. මේ carbohydrates and proteins ගැන තමයි ගොඩක් focus කරන්නේ. හරි. මොකද the basic biology and chemistry comes in carbohydrates and proteins. So we have to focus on that. හරි. Other than putting a lot of time to minerals and vitamins වගේ poly subjects වලට වඩා we have to focus on what matters. හරි. Focus on what is important. ඒ ටික අපි හොඳට බලන්න ඕනේ. හරි. Then for the last activity we have the test. How to identify each and every carbohydrate. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට තියෙනවා monosaccharides, අපිට තියෙනවා disaccharides, we have polysaccharides. ඊළඟට ඔන්න ඕවා වගේම තියෙනකොට මේ carbohydrates විදියට අපි කොහොමද මේවා identify කරන්නේ? How are we going to identify these things? ඒක කරන්න අපිට chemical practicals, chemistry practicals වගේ තියෙනවා කරන්න. So that is why I say මේ lessons වල biology විතරක් නෙමෙයි chemistry තියෙනවා. That is what makes it interesting, at the same time making it complicated as well. Okay, so to test to identify carbohydrate මේගොල්ලෝ කියනවා මේ yes starch test. Number 1 is starch test. හරිද? starch test එක කියන්නේ හිස්ටේ පිළිබඳ පරීක්ෂණය, starch for testing for starch. හරි. මේගොල්ලෝ කියනවා small amount of food is obtained and grind well with water. ඒ කියන්නේ starch test එකේ මුලින්ම කරන්නේ පොඩි කැම ප්‍රමාණයක් ඔය පිටි ටිකක් කියලා කියනවා starch කියලා පිටි ටිකක් ගන්න flour. We take small bit of pinch නෙමෙයි couple of pinch handful of flour පිටි ටිකක් කරා වතුරත් එක්ක දාලා හොඳට අනා ගන්නවා. මේකේ මේ flour මේ watery mixture එකක් හදා ගන්නවා. We are making a watery mixture of flour. Right? Wheat flour, normal flour. A drop of iodine solution is added to the above solution. Iodine පුතාලා iodine කියන solution එක in the natural existence it is yellow brown, yellow orange slight brown tinge එකක් තියෙනවා iodine වලට. හරි. iodine ගත්තොත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ bottle එකක yellowish brownish orange වගේ color එකක්. හරි. yellow brown orange වගේ color එකක් යන්නේ. And ඔය starch තියෙන starch component එකක් තියෙන solution එකට iodine දැම්මම if you pour iodine into a component which has solution which has starch, quickly originally yellow brown orange tinge එකක් තිබ්බ iodine එක quickly it turns into dark blue. Actually yes, purple blue වෙනවා මෙන්න මේ total solution එක. හරි. normally හොඳට clearly අහගන්න. normally iodine is yellow brown orangish වගේ color එකක්. yellow brown orangish වගේ mix එකක්. හරි. but මෙන්න මේ iodine අරගෙන අපි දානවා starch mixture එකකට. හොඳට starch දිය කරපු water compound එකකට මේ iodine දැම්මම අර yellow brown තිබ්බ iodine පට ගාලා it quickly becomes purplish blue. ලියලා තියාගන්න. starch test එකේදී starch තියෙන component එක තියෙන එකට iodine දැම්මම the solution quickly becomes purplish blue. මේකේ තියෙනවා starch mixture. හරිද? starch mixture එක තියෙනවා. හරිද? මේකට අපි දානවා iodine. දැම්ලා ගමන් මේක purplish blue. නිකම් blue නෙමෙයි purplish blue. හරි? නිකම් blue නෙමෙයි. ඒක what is the important thing is actually from the whole thing purplish blue. To remember purplish blue. MCQ එකේ question කරන්නේ මොන blue ද? Dark blue ද, light blue ද, purple? No, nothing. Purplish blue. හොඳට ලියලා තියාගන්න, highlight කරගන්න. කඩලා ලියාගන්න මට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Doesn't matter. ඔයා ඒක මතක තියාගන්න එක තමයි වැදගත්. That is what is important. ඊළඟට ඒ දැන් starch වලට කරේ. Starch means polysaccharide. Now we are testing for glucose. That means monosaccharide. So starch එකට test කරන එක තමයි easy. That is the most complicated type of carbohydrate, but that is the most easiest. පටකාල purplish blue නා starch තිබ්බා. Polysaccharide test positive. Then glucose, monosaccharide. A solution of glucose is obtained into a test tube. Then ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑනේ. Glucose කියන්නේ සීනි, simple sugar. ඔය අපි මේ මොනවද simple sugar විදිහට මොනවා හරි අරගෙන ඔක වතුරේ දිය කරනවා. හරි test tube එකකට අපි sugar මොකක්ද ගන්න දිය කරලා ගන්නවා. හරි. මේ test tube එක sugar component. හරිද? ඊළඟට few drops of Benedict solution is added to the above solution. මේකට දානවා Benedict කියලා solution එකක් තියෙනවා පුතා. හරි මේ නම් තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. So what you have to remember is these names and these specific names, because that is what will be questioned in your exam paper. The names that you have to remember. Benedict solution. So if you write this down, draw this out, you can totally normally remember everything. Okay. So we take the test tube with glucose water, simple sugar water, solution of glucose, few drops of Benedict is added to the solution. This above solution is immersed in a water bath. And now we are coming to the advanced scientific methods. Water baths. Then පුතාලා මේවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට හැමෝටම කියලා දෙන්න බෑනේ. water bath එකක් මොකක්ද නෝ කවුරුත් දන්නේ නැහැ. හරි? water bath එකක් කියලා කිව්වොත් කියයි දවල්ට ගිහිල්ලා shower එකෙන් නානකට water bath. හරි? ඔය වගේ මිනිස්සු තමයි. So water bath is පුතාලා මෙන්න මේ වගේ. හරි? මේක ඇවිල්ලා ලොකු beaker එකක්. මේක test tube එකක් නේ. හරි? මේක test tube එක. This is a test tube. හරිද? test tube එකට මුලින්ම අර glucose solution එක දැම්මේ. water bath එක කියන්නේ මේ ලොකු beaker එකකට අපි වතුර පුරවගෙන ඒ වතුර මේක immerse කරනවා, ගිල්වනවා. immersive. ගිල්වනවා means immersion. immersion means ගිලෙනවා. ඉතින් එතනින් Bunsen burner එකකින් ඔය burner එකකින් මේක heat කරගන්න. හරි Bunsen burner එක යටින් තියලා heat කරගන්න. එතකොට මේ වතුර burn නටනවා. වතුර නටනවා මේක රත් වෙනවා. Why can't we just take the test tube and heat it up? නම් පළවෙනි එක තමයි test tube heat කරන්නේ නැහැ. test tube පුපුරනවා. හරිද? test tubes අපි heat කරන්නේ නැහැ. for direct heat burner එකට අපි අල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. it can blow up. හරිද? ඒකට තියෙනවා මේ වෙනම tube જાතියක්. but ඒකේ දාලා කරන්න පුළුවන්. but අපි ඒව කරන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කරොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? if we take the tube or heat කරන tube එක heating tube එකක් කරට solution දාලා ඒකට Benedict solution දාලා මේක Bunsen burner එකට අල්ලන්නේ නැත්තේ ඇයි? because එහෙම කරොත් heating tube එක direct heat වෙලා අපිට හරියට heat වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක එකනේ පල්ලෙන් ඉක්මනට heat වෙනවා උඩ හරිය heat වෙන්නේ නැහැ. those problems are there no. so that is why we are using a water bath. water bath එකේ what happens? water bath එකේ beaker එක heat වෙනවා. beaker එක heat වෙනවා වතුර heat වෙනවා. water molecules travel everywhere. Right? Heat හැමතැනම යනවා. So they maintain a proper temperature all throughout the beaker. beaker එකේ තියෙන liquid මේ component එක ඇතුළෙම constant the heat උනාට temperature එක වැඩි වෙනවා but constantly. දැන් මෙතන celsius 95ක් වෙනකොට මෙතනත් celsius 95යි මෙතනත් 95යි මේගොල්ලෝ waves හදාගෙන 95 වෙනවා. හරි? හැමෝම ඊළඟට 96 වෙනවා. හැමෝම 97 වෙනවා. It becomes constantly increase. So අර ඉන්නේ constant heat එකක් අපිට constant heat increasement එකක් අපිට මේ test tube එකට දෙන්න ඕනේ හින්දා we are using the water bath. So tell me how many teachers might teach you that? ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ teachers ලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ නිකම්ම water bath එක ඇඳලා මේක රත් කරනවා this will be we will be using the Bunsen burner to heat this up මේ water bath එක මේ test tube එක දාලා ඕක කියනවා. but nobody teaches you why we are using a water bath. Why can't we using a heating tube? Why can't we using test tube? What happens in the water bath? How it increases its temperature? කොහොමද මේ temperature ක්‍රමානුකූලව හරියට frequently make increase වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද science එක? So nobody will teach you. I don't know who will teach you, but I am guaranteeing you that 8 out of 10 teachers will not teach you that. Right? So that is that. ඔහොම heat කරනකොට මේකේ තියෙන glucose solution එක what happens? You can observe the color change. මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙන solution එක දැන් Benedict කියන solution එක මේ we have put it here in the glucose solution we have added the Benedict solution as well. හරි? Benedict solution එක අපි glucose solution එකට දාලා heating it up. Yeah, the water bath. එතකොට මේකේ color change එකක් වෙනවා. හරි මේකේ color change එකක් වෙනවා. There's a color change. It starts from blue. It starts from blue. Benedict solution එකේ blue එකෙන් typically පටන් ගන්නවා because in natural existence Benedict කියන solution it's blue. Okay, it can normally blue කියලා දැන් heat කරනකොට color change වෙලා yellow, green, red අනම්මනම් වෙලා අන්තිමේදී this becomes brick red. Simple sugars මේකේ simple sugars තියෙනවා කියලා අපිට ඔප්පු වෙනවා. If this becomes brick red precipitation කියලා අපි කියනවා precipitation කියලා මොකද මෙන්න මෙතන පොඩි pulp එකක් වගේ එකතු වෙනවා මේ test tube එකේ. Okay, in this test tube we have the solution, glucose solution. Initially we had the glucose solution and then what we did, we added the Benedict solution which is blue in color. Right, ඒක දැම්ම මෙතන blue solution එකක් අපිට ආවා. And then what we did, we immersed it in the water bath. We tried heating it up. අපි heat එක දුන්නා. ටික ටික heat වෙනකොට when the temperature was rising, what happened was there's a color change that we observed, that we can observe if you are here. So මෙතන blue වල initially blue color තිබ්බ solution එක ටික ටික color change කරලා green, yellow, orange ඔහොමම ගිහිල්ලා it becomes brick red and then brick red එකෙන් precipitant එකක් මෙතන එකතු වෙනවා. Precipitant is what you might wonder, මෙහෙම තියෙනකොට පුතා solution එකක් මේ යට pulp එකක් වගේ පොඩි නිකන් pulp එකක් වගේ එකතු වෙනවා නම් මෙතන solution, if the solution is here and then a certain type of a pulp is gathering in the bottom corner, we call that a precipitant. Right? We call that action, precipitation, generation of a precipitant. The action is precipitation and what we find here is a precipitant. Our pulp එකක් වගේ යට එකතු වෙනවා, it's a precipitant. It's a brick red color. It's in brick red color, and we call it a brick red precipitant. And that proves us that there are simple sugar, monosaccharides, glucose, simple sugars මෙන්න මේ solution එකේ තිබ්බා කියලා අපිට prove කරනවා මෙන්න මේ test එකේ. Simple as that. So I know in the first go it is very difficult for you all to understand everything, but I have explained it to you very thoroughly, very clearly. මේක තමයි this is what happens here කියලා. So what you can do is I'll get this video recording in your group as soon as I can, but I won't be putting each and every day recordings because you might get used to watching the recording and everything because you might stop attending the active class. I want you all to attend the active class and learn this then and there. Okay, so recordings, don't be sure I will be putting everything. I'm not guaranteeing you that, but this video I will be putting the recording. Okay, so you can go and watch it again if you don't understand something here, but here we have explained it very clearly. Okay, so that is the test for simple sugars, that is monosaccharides. Okay, so now we come to the final test, that is for sucrose, that is disaccharides. Sucrose is disaccharides. Okay, this is the most complicated test, sucrose testing, disaccharide testing, because we can't just test it for polysaccharides. It is not a polypeptide chain. No. It is not a polymerized chain. No. Okay. If it is a polymerized chain, we can put iodine drop and we can see purplish blue iodine. When we put purple iodine, there it gives a purplish blue color. So that there must be a polymerized chain which results in a polysaccharide. Okay. But for disaccharides, we can't do that. Disaccharide means there are two monosaccharides get together to form a disaccharide. So how can we prove something is a disaccharide? Let's say if it's a sucrose, lactose or maltose, that those are the examples for disaccharides. No? So how can we prove some solution is a disaccharide solution? Right? There is a specific test for that. Okay. There is a specific test for that, and now we are going to learn that. In the textbook, they have given us a certain guideline explanations, but we have to go deep into it to understand. Okay, so a sucrose solution is obtained into a test tube. Okay, now we are going back to the test tube. Test tube, what we have is a sucrose solution. All right, and then we are doing what we did in the earlier test. In the earlier test, we tested for glucose. So in simple sugars, glucose, glucose solution එකේ තියෙනවා නම් මේ solution එකේ glucose නම් තියෙන්නේ simple sugars now. Monosaccharides na ara kalin karu test එක කරාම Benedict අපිට brick red precipitant එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. We should give us the brick red precipitant no. So what we are going to do is first we are going to prove that this is not glucose. Make a Benedict positivity එක දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා we are going to prove. So okay, what we are going to do is sucrose solution එක තියෙනවා in the test tube. We are going to add the Benedict solution which is blue in natural existence. Normally Benedict solution is blue. We are going to add that into this solution. Okay, we have added that. And then what we are going to do is we are going to take the water bath again, right? And we are going to heat it up using a Bunsen burner, whatever burner. We are going to heat it up. And what happens is in the previous occasion, in the previous testing, when we were heating the water bath with the heat, what happened? The blue solution, it changed its color. It turned from the initial blue color into green, yellow, orange, and finally it gave us the brick red precipitate. But here, we don't get the precipitate. We don't get the brick red precipitate. Why is that? Because there is a sucrose solution. This is not glucose solution. This is a sucrose solution. So it doesn't act like that. So we have proved one thing. We have proved this is not a monosaccharide. Okay, this is not a monosaccharide. So that we have proved. Alright? No color change. And then what we are going to do is, to this solution, we are going to add few drops of sulfuric, diluted sulfuric. This is H2SO4. We are going to add a few drops of H2SO4 to this solution, which is in the testing tube. Solution we are going to add sulfuric acid, diluted sulfuric acid. Diluted means putala. වතුර දාලා අර dilute කරලා ඒක power එක අඩු කරලා. So you have to drop down the power because sulfuric is very powerful. You can burn through anything, burn through skin even. Okay, so if you add sulfuric here, you can get the sulfuric punching hole through my skin, hole through my bone actually. So sulfuric. 1% I have written here. That means diluted sulfuric. We are going to add a few drops here into the solution. Which contains sucrose. All right. And then what we are going to do? All right. I've gone wrong here. We are not going to add sulfuric here. Okay, so we have proved the fact that the heating up doesn't work for sucrose. That is what we have proved. Okay, we have proved the fact that heating up sucrose doesn't work. We get another sucrose solution here. Okay, same like this, we get another sucrose solution, and then what we are going to do is we are going to add sulfuric to that, not to this. That is where I went wrong. We are not going to add sulfuric to this. We only proved that this is not glucose or anything else. Okay, so if it was glucose, we should be getting the brick red precipitate. No. So what we are going to do is we are going to take another fresh batch of sucrose solution and we are going to add sulfuric drops here, okay, to the sucrose solution. Okay, right. After that, few drops of sodium hydroxide is added to neutralize the medium. So we are going to heat this up. Heat this up using a Bunsen burner. So, sulfuric is added. We are going to heat this up, and then we are going to add sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Okay, so this is, sulfuric is acidic. Sulfuric is acid, so that is acidic, amlical. So when you add sulfuric to this medium, to the sucrose medium, this becomes acidic, right? So when you heat it up, this becomes acidic. So to neutralize that, we are going to add the base, a basic compound, which is sodium hydroxide, NaOH, sodium hydroxide. We are going to add to the already existing sucrose solution along with sulfuric. We are going to add sodium hydroxide to neutralize the medium, and then we are going to add the Benedict solution, third step. So this is pretty complicated. So somebody might ask me, why did we add sulfuric in the first place? Why do you think? Why do you think we add the sulfuric in the first place? If we are to neutralize it by adding sodium hydroxide, why did we add sulfuric? We didn't need to add sulfuric. No, if it was a strained substance that we had to neutralize later, why did we add sulfuric in the first place? We add sulfuric because we understood that this is not a monosaccharide. simple sugar. This should be a disaccharide, which means monosaccharide is added monosaccharide, two monosaccharides getting together to make disaccharide. So we know this should be a disaccharide. That means two monosaccharides are here. We added sulfuric in the second experiment to break the disaccharide bond, to simple sugars and separate it. We added sulfuric acid. We added sulfuric acid here to the sucrose solution to break the sucrose solution into glucose and fructoses. We added sulfuric here, the acidic component, to the solution of sucrose to break the sucrose solution, sucrose disaccharide molecules into simple sugars, monosaccharides, glucose and fructoses. And then, since the medium is acidic by sulfuric, which was used to break down the sucrose, we added sodium hydroxide, a base, to neutralize the medium. Okay, and while we are heating up, because we have to antagonize everything, right? So we were heating it up, and then finally we are adding the Benedict solution, which means here we have glucose and fructoses. Now by adding sulfuric, we broke sucroses into glucose and fructoses. So here we can add Benedict now. Same thing here. Benedict again. When you put Benedicts, Benedict turns brick red when we are heating it up. Okay, so this shouldn't be just the buns, and this should be a water bath as well. Okay, water bath should be here. Just like this, we are not putting up the heat to the test tube. So you should know that by now. Although I didn't read that, you should know that by now. So once we put in the Benedict, now we have glucose and fructoses. Those are simple sugars. That makes the solution turns brick red precipitate. Blue solution turns brick red precipitate. So we can prove we had to go to few steps. We had to go to two processes to get the simple sugars. That means sulfuric had to be added. That means we had to break whatever which was here. That means when we took the simple sugars to the positive Benedict test, we had to break it down by we had to take it by break it down something else. That should have been what is it? Polysaccharides, monosaccharides, disaccharides. Over the word disaccharide. Disaccharide should have initial. Disaccharide must have been there in the initial step. So we used sulfuric acid to break the disaccharide, which means sucrose. Disaccharide was broken by adding sulfuric, and then disaccharide was broken into glucose and fructose. And then once we did the Benedict test can detect any monosaccharide. Well, glucose and fructose are both monosaccharide. Benedict test was positive, giving us dark brick red precipitate. Simple as that when we explain everything, but initially it is very complicated. And so what you should do now is, do not just take your mind off things because I am just finishing up with the lesson, because these kind of experiments, these are very complicated. So when I put the recording of this lesson in your group, go and watch it again, especially these experiments part, how to detect starch, monosaccharide, glucose, disaccharide, sucrose, how to detect those. Go through this lesson, what I taught you. Make notes. I have already given you 8 or 9 questions and we made answers. Those can come to a MCQs as structure, definitely. So we are well prepared for that. Regarding the carbohydrates, we went through the lesson very thoroughly. So next Tuesday, we are going to focus on proteins and the proteins, enzymes under protein, the lipids and nucleic acids especially. And yeah, make sure you watch the recording next week. Come prepared for the next few lessons. So the ones who have not registered, make sure you are registered by next week, within the next few days. And next week we'll meet up with the next lessons, and hope to see you all there as well. And I will be only be admitting the people who have registered from the waiting list. So make sure everybody is there, and share this message to your friends as well, so they might have an understanding that this type of classes are going on. So okay, so bye for now. Make sure you study whatever we taught you today. Okay, so cheers, adios, good night everyone.